You're now tuned into Batty FM.
You're now locked into Batty FM, the only station bold enough to say what you're thinking and loud enough to make your mama nervous. Broadcasting live from the heart of the unapologetic, the unbothered, and the undeniably iconic. We got something real special for y'all tonight. This ain't just music, this a declaration, this therapy, this that step down the street with your shades on moment. So buckle up, touch up that lip gloss, and silence the haters. Because presented to the world for the very first time, Mom, I'm a bad bitch. An album for the misunderstood, the underestimated, and the absolute unforgettable. Play it loud, play it proud. This is your era. Let's go.
Here's my thesis before we even start. The world confuses being known with being worth knowing. And by the usual metrics, streams, headlines, cosigns, you're a nobody right now. So tell me this, when nobody's watching, what keeps you creating? And when you do get watched, what do you fear people will misunderstand? Let's begin at the beginning. Appleton, Dominican, growing up inside a place that doesn't have a story written for you. How did you build one? Let's talk about Appleton. Most people can't place it on a map. What does growing up there do to an artist?
So, number one, I just want to say thank you for having me on. This is a blessing to be a part of, especially since this is not the traditional format that you guys usually do. I think being in Appleton is a blessing and a curse at the same time. Just like you said, it's not, you can't really place it on a map whatsoever. And because of that, kind of like what you said earlier in the opening, you know, it makes me a nobody. Can't really place Appleton on a map as much, but that's what makes it a blessing, is trying to find a way to put Appleton on the map in some way, shape, or form, because there's a lot going for Appleton. You know, growing up, being there, it felt safe. It felt like not too big of a city, but not too small of a city. It was the perfect medium.
You're Dominican, born in Appleton. Did you feel like you belonged anywhere growing up?
Not really. I was always the outlier. You know, throughout school, I was always the weird kid. I was always the one who was seen as an outcast. At least I like to think so. I never really fit in with the white crowd, but I never really fit in with the black crowd either. I was really in the medium, and it was this difficult part to kind of combat, because it was a struggle trying to find my identity, because I was so different from a lot of different people. And I know everyone's unique, but it almost felt like out the bat, I was an outcast as soon as I went into public schooling and got more serious with music and all of that.
Well, were you more invisible or more watched?
I mean, most definitely, I felt like I was more watched. People always saw me as a weird kid. I was getting into school suspensions. I was a terrible kid back in elementary school and middle school and high school. And kind of looking back at it, I think I was really watched. I was really a weird kid. I was so weird. But that allowed me to use that to my advantage, you know, show people that, hey, you know, this weirdness can be turned into something creative. You know, I got more to me than just the weirdness. I basically used to be that kid who wore the Naruto headbands in middle school and did the Naruto run. Like, it was bad. And I think there's something to be said about being weird and being yourself and all of that.
What parts of you are Dominican in a way that feels natural?
Well, I mean, it's definitely not the, you know, what we see online, the I know black-eyed Dominican, like, it's not that. I mean, like, as a Latino, you know, I'm toxic, I argue, I get loud. When I walk into a room, I have to talk to everybody. Like, that's my natural instinct, just like my father. And I think that's a natural thing for me being a Dominican. I think that could be said about all Dominicans. We're dreamers, we're hard workers. Whatever we dream of, we get and we want, we need. And that's been translating with my music ever since, starting from when I was 16 in my parents' basement to being able to start scaling and performing bigger and bigger crowds and give back on a larger scale. And it's been so amazing. And my determination to scale even farther in 2026 is going to be far what I exceeded in 2025. And this album was a big way of me kind of showing myself in that sense.
When I dig back, I see earlier chapters, Lifetime. We talked before this interview a lot, and that came up quite a bit.
So now, this is the point where I kind of really start dissecting stuff. So apologies for the yapping, because I'm going to go on a lot of tangents. But when I released the song, I talk about it a lot because that song, around that time, I was going through a lot, still figuring out a lot of stuff, even though it was literally this year. This year has been so crazy. It's still 2025, and going into this next year, I realized a lot. So that was why I mentioned that track a lot. And, you and I, we talked about how, for me, every time I released a song, something significant happened to me. I lost significance around me, or I had a new perspective change, or a lot of things. And Lifetime was basically an ode to a significant other that, it's really about the people we put ourselves around, not the people who we think are going to stay. It's about appreciating the moment, appreciating what you're in. And when I released it, I did a listening party for it. It was DIY. It was literally at the crib that I'm so currently in. And we literally popped champagne bottle that I didn't even know how to open up. My manager clowned me for it. Everyone around me clowned me for it, but we had so much fun. I had me, my manager, Faro. I had my boy Brock, and then my boy Ariel at the time, and a lot of other people who meant a lot to me, and a lot of people who were there because they supported what I was doing. And at that moment, I felt, a whole rush of things. But I took a lot of inspiration from 070 Shake, because 070 Shake's love music is so metaphorical, it's so lyrical, it's so well written. I think her ability to write songs spoke to me, and I needed to make a song sort of like that, and that's why I made Lifetime. And it was mixed by my boy Lucas, who I sent the song to. Not previously. I did work with him before, and then I kind of just sent him the song as like, yo, like, what's up, And he provided me the canvas. He provided the paint that was needed for the canvas, and he sent it back, and it was this beautiful piece of, it was beautiful to me. It sounded exactly what I wanted it to sound like, and that was kind of that era for me. This year has been so all over the place. So, yeah.
You say all over the place, but what else happened that you would say is important to you?
Definitely Paper Fest and Mile of Music. Those events opened my mind on a different level that I couldn't explain with words, but with feeling. And I felt excited, nervous, humbled, appreciative, blessed, and my amazing team that are not even a team to me, they're my family, and they've helped me create all the things that I couldn't imagine possible. And doing those events and seeing everyone else catch on and liking the music and finding their own meaning to it was such a beautiful time. And to me, that really made 2025 a really good year for me, but now I know that there's something there for me, that like after Lifetime and after this, like it opened my mind up. And that's when I was working on the album, during that whole time after Lifetime, I was already thinking about the album. So yeah, all of that was so crazy.
Explain bad bitch without internet language. Like, philosophically, what does it mean to you?
Yeah. It's funny to hear you say it like that. Like, I mean, like it's supposed to be, it's obviously satire. It's supposed to be kind of like my way of saying, hey, I don't care what you think. I know my worth. And that's why I tied it to my mother, but also tied it to, the whole bad bitch thing, because it's a confidence thing, and I think everyone does good with a little bit of confidence. And it's funny how the more people are saying it, the whole bad bitch thing, it's becoming a culture, and that's what I want it to be, this positive message of, hey, be yourself, don't care, just make whatever you want, be creative. Everyone's an artist. I was literally just listening to Rick Rubin a while ago. I like to listen to it on the weekends to just repeat it, but he said everyone's a creator. Everyone is. It's just about the few who harness it and put it into a medium. Or something on the lines of those I could be interpreting, but yeah. And seeing how everything unfolded was amazing, from starting it with an idea to getting it to the shows and now doing this whole rollout that I'm planning on next year. It's going to be a whole thing, and it's not just with the help of me, it's with the help of my manager, Dakota, it's with the help of my boy Khalil, it's with the help of Pharrell, with every artist in the Valley, sorry if I didn't mention your name, by the way, but like literally everyone in the Valley, Oshkosh, Appleton, everyone. Like, there's so much talent there that's just unchecked. And the whole point of this album is to be like, yo, just do it. Just do you, please. And that's what I'm trying to get at with this whole thing.
Is the title Confidence or is it Defense?
Ooh, I mean, it's both. I mean, of course, it's all about confidence, going out, doing you, being yourself, but like, admitting those faults is what makes you the bad bitch in question. That's what I was trying to get at, is like being the truest self to you as you can be, because I think the issue is we fall into these character traits that are developed by other people or societies. And yes, the people we surround ourselves with we have to have some free will. You know what I'm saying? We have to have some sort of free will out there.
So this section, I'm leaving up to you to explain the album track by track.
Okay, so I opened up the album. I love my concept albums, and I opened up with like a sub 60-second statement, and it was basically, it's supposed to be set in this story of a radio station called Batty FM. And it was basically just explaining that this album, hey, it's going to have a hype side, it's going to have a somber side, but don't let that somber, like, take you from the fact of the bigger message. Because, people who are confident, even in their times of worst moments, they still find ways to love themselves, And it was like an intro, but it was also a warning, because now, as soon as you get into the album, you gonna start taking a lot of pieces that relate to you in some way different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could just be you're listening for fun, or you're listening to get a message, or whatever it is. But either way, it's kind of like hey, be aware, there's two different vibes. And what I wanted people to get like a feeling of was that, hey, we're a part of this together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a part of this radio station. You are tuning in. Like, hello, you're tuning in. And then it goes right into A-List, baby. And it's so satire. Like, I paint myself as this A-list baby, you know, because kind of like Lil Nas X's industry baby almost, but like I was this subjective view of popularity, this subjective view of a celebrity. And the entire song kind of goes through this whole mock of a dream. Like, it's a dream. It's this like image of where people who get famous see themselves. Like, it was like, it's such a big imagery in the early, mid, and late 2000s of like, oh, this is what popularity looks like. This is what living luxury looks like. They don't see the real stuff behind the scenes, like the emotion and all that. And I started talking about a lot of issues that I was dealing with around the time. Like, it's an insecurity under the flex, you know, because it's like, spend 100 racks at the movies. Like, I'm not going out to the movie theater and spending $100,000. That makes no sense. Like, it's supposed to be like over the top, just, you know, and yeah. And then I go right into Bumbleclad. And it was supposed to be this one big thing of raw energy, comedy, chaos, confidence, all of that, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was out with my boys drinking. We were out at the bars, and then I came back and I just made this. Like, I was like, yo, this feels fun. This feels, you know. And I don't know why, but I kept seeing those Bumbleclad memes, and they were hilarious, and they reminded me of like my own culture, because we say coño or diablo a lot. Like, it's kind of like what the fuck almost, or like damn, or like, you know, that's kind of like, I just started related to that a little bit. So I was like, yo, screw it, I'm gonna just go on this track and just start saying a bunch of stuff and really feel the vibe, get into it. And this was such an outlier in the album because it wasn't really supposed to fit. I just did it because it was like, I just wanted a fun song. I wanted a song that didn't make any sense. And when I wrote it, I spent the entire second half of the song talking about how I don't cheat. I don't know why I did that, but I did it. Like, it just felt right. And then the fourth track, is basically, is supposed to be Oshkosh Pub Crawl's national anthem. Listen, Oshkosh is a very weird place. It's been known as Sloshkosh, I believe. But like, I love it. I love going there, DJing there. But man, it's one messy place. Yo, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think if you talk to someone there, they wouldn't agree with that. And I wanted to make something for Oshkosh because Pub Crawl is such an amazing event. You have a bunch of people coming together, listening to music, vibing out. I've made so much friends during Pub Crawl. Like, I've met so many people during Pub Crawl. And it's such a beautiful place, and I wanted to kind of make something for that. And so it first started out as an A-List Baby Part 2. And then it became its own thing. So when I finished the song, it originally didn't have that intro and ending. I actually reached out to my boy Noah Matthew, who amazing guitarist and vocalist, and also plays in the band when we perform live. Shout out to him. He is a musical theater major, and I was like, hey, I need this voice acting for, I'm thinking something Western, because the beat, when I heard it, felt really Western. And so then I reached out to him. I was like, hey, do this little thing. And I said, just improvise it. You know, I want to hear what you would think on this. And that's what he produced. And it was the most like, it's a vibey song. Like, it's real, like you in a lowrider type of thing. That's what I, you know, he kind of allowed the story to be in that song, and I appreciated that. Like, the whole point of the song is like, is literally like, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what to do in the mistake. You know, what to do when you make a mistake that you don't realize but others see. You know, because I'm like, run from the man. You say you want it bad, you saved by the bell. So it's like, communication errors, not being able to say fully what's on your mind. And it was this whole, piece of just making mistakes and, how different people go about it. Because some people don't even solve them at all. And then we go to Jelly, which has Love Nilo on it. And that song was really cool because we made it at my manager's crib. And he originally was his song, and I heard it, and I'm like, let me put something on there. Because he was like, he didn't know what to do for the second part. I'm like, I totally got this. And so I hopped on that second verse, and it became this beautiful club banger, go to the club, shake some ass, you know what I'm saying? It was a cool track. Jelly is obviously short for a girl's behind, you know what I'm saying? Shaking ass, basically. And Love Nilo does a really good job at adding to that, especially with his first line, which is so butterfly, never mind, she a fairy. Because that one fairy song by Maya AP blew up. That she was the fairy. Yeah, she was a fairy. Yeah. And so when he said that, I was geeked out. I was like, yo, this is tough. He knew what he was doing. So shout out to him. That track was dope. It's going dope right now. Engagement's looking pretty good so far with it. And then I come back with a skit. I come back to the Batty FN. This is where we start getting somber. It's a mirror flip. I put it on the album because I actually got the inspiration from Skylar Zamzow. He was like, yeah, my mama a bad bitch, maybe my mama a sad bitch. Because we were tossing around the idea of doing 2 different EPs. But I was just like, what if I just put a track that separates the albums? Because I wanted to separate the vibe. And so shout out to Skylar. What a gem. Cool dude. But yeah, I wanted it to be short, 41 seconds. And I thought that was a perfect amount because it's supposed to show you that we're getting somber and hey, don't let the message get across that because we're changing the sound doesn't mean the message is not the same. You could still be a bad bitch at these low moments, at these somber moments. So let's continue. And then I get into Alimonies with my boy Mellow Tune, Mellow from Milwaukee. Yo, I met him because I couldn't believe that he had the amount of monthly listeners that he did. Cold lyricist, and he only had I think I was 50, 90 at the time. I was like, dude, this is tough. I was like, I want to work with you. So I made this demo, Alimonies, because I was pissed off at the fact that that statistic that there's the statistic that 50% of marriages end in divorce, and I find that idea to be kind of sad. You know what I'm saying? I think simple communication can make a marriage come together. And I think that's one problem I see is so many parents getting divorced or this and that, and it's sad. So I wanted to make a song about it, and Mello made a perfect second verse to it and ended the song perfectly. Alimonies is basically how when people, and that's why I made the music video, which Dre directed. Bailey was there too. Shout out Bailey. Mello was there, and Messiah Washington, amazing actress from University of Stevens Point, Wisconsin. And yeah, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I have this idea for this song. It's basically like a therapy session. And yeah, we made something dope, and shout out to Dre and everyone a part of that process. And then yeah, I went right into Take My Name, and this is where I started getting really personal. So for most of you that know, my name wasn't Damien starting off. It was actually Michael. And I changed my name because I wanted to be closer with my family. You know, my father's Damien, my grandfather's Damien. And so I felt I was a lot closer to that name. And a lot of people around me, the people I cared about, started respecting that and referring to me as Damien. And I started going through the routes of trying to get it legally changed. And that's still in current process. But yeah, there was a moment for me to speak on that. And the way I spoke about it was barely saying anything at all, because that's how I wanted it to feel. I just like, hey, this is what I want to go by. Don't ask about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the entire song I say, yeah, like for the entire, you know, so, and then the verse. Sorry, I'm like looking at my notes and breaking down these songs. The verse, yeah, I'm basically kind of talking about a love story, like a simple love story, and how the last situation I was in before I actually changed my name was a really big turn for me, because I did a lot of self-realization of who I wanted to be and stuff like that. And I'm still the same person. I just wanted to be associated with my family and be closer with them. And then that's when I get into Night Away. This is kind of like the escape. This is the peace. This is the relapse. This is the romance. This is everything. It's a basic love story talking about how, like, when you care about someone so much, you're just lost in everything, even in their mistakes and in your own mistakes. You're just lost in that feeling, and that's a good thing to feel. You know what I'm saying? You should be comfortable to feel those very strong emotions. And it was beautiful. I went to my boy Cullen, and he was in Cali at the time, and we recorded a bunch of demos, and that was one of them that we came out of, and that was around the Boy Girl time, actually. So when I released Boy Girl, that, you know, I recorded that, and I didn't even think about putting it into the album until very last minute. So shout out to Mason for convincing me, because I was like, it was in my vault and I didn't know how to feel about it, and I kind of put it on there. So, and speaking about feeling, do you feel? I'm asking, it's a question. It's basically like, y'all ever be asking questions that you don't say out loud? You know, a lot of people these days don't directly ask questions about feelings. And I wrote this when I was in London, and I was going through a lot at the time when I was going through London. And that was a beautiful moment for me. London was amazing. The food is terrible. But I learned a lot over there, and I made that song, which is why the first part is like, I'm gonna take a little trip out to London. Wait, I don't like to go alone unless I'm cuffing. And when I wrote that, I was just like, anytime, like I'm always trying to go out and meet new people and meet friends. Like, I made so many friends over in London, and the rest of the song kind of goes into how I'm just trying to communicate, but I don't communicate at the same time. Like, I've had this issue of being able to communicate, but not at the same time, so I wouldn't. It's just, so yeah, I just wasn't. And this song is basically kind of like my answer to what I've been having issues with. And then that goes into the last song of the album. Tell Me Why was... Originally, it wasn't the closer of the album. And I'm talking to this individual who I was very close with, and unfortunately it was a very toxic situation on both of our ends. And there was a point in time where I got emotional in front of this person. And as a man, it's hard to open up or get emotional in front of somebody and get comfortable. And when I did, I felt comfortable around this person. They reassured me. But later on, when feelings changed, they completely disregarded that and said that, basically worded it in a way where it was like, you getting emotional was weird. And to me, that hurt. Of course it did, because it's like, well, that's the reason why men don't want to express the feelings, because they get shut out. Like, that's just how they feel. They're not asking, at least me personally, I wasn't asking for anything. I was just asking to be heard and allowed myself to feel these emotions. And that's why I think, like, Tell Me Why is the most toxic song of the album, straight up, because it's like, it's a big back and forth. Like, tell me why. Like, I think in very toxic relationships, we're always asking too many questions too fast. You know, sometimes it just should be slowed down, one question at a time, listen to each other out, you know. And that's why I named it Tell Me Why. And I originally wanted to make a song based off of Malcolm Todd's I Love song, Chest Pain, because I love that song so much. And I came up with a similar melody, but kind of wanted to structure it differently, lyrical wise. And that's what I came up with. And I say the most toxic song because in the song is like, you're loving me, that's the fucking problem. Like, that's, you know, I had this situation where this person had feelings for me and I didn't have the same feelings back. And like, sometimes it's like, that's the issue, you know, like that's the issue that's happening, because you're caring, but I do not feel the same way. And communication is just such a big theme in this album. I was at fault for it. A lot of people around me was at fault for it, in terms of like past relationships or past friendships that have ended. And it was difficult, but like, that was the album. Like, that was the entire thing. It's supposed to be this toxic, messy, fun, emotional, realizational album. Like, hey, you know, let's go back to square one, y'all. Let's start talking, you know. But yeah. So thank you so much for that segment, being able to like yap for that long amount of time was good. I enjoyed that. I remember CW Hip Hop doing the same thing. It was really cool because each song has its own story. So, yeah.
I've seen you say on Instagram Live that the Midwest is an ego battle. Explain that without blaming people.
Man, so I mean, like, people are at battle with themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, the human's worst threat right now is ourselves. We are our worst enemies, literally. And I think at times we start forgetting why we did this in the first place. You know, like, the art scene here is just super... A lot of people have this falsified image of where it's supposed to go. It's not supposed to go anywhere. It's supposed to help your community. It's supposed to... I had a conversation with Mello about this during after a show one time, and him and I were talking about how people are sometimes super selfish about, you know, like they're the best or that. And it's not even a conversation about that, because there's entire images based around that ego, you know, about like, oh, I'm the best. There's, you know, that's not the issue. The issue is people will actually prevent others from getting opportunities because of how they feel, or people will start saying things just because of whatever, you know. Like, Milwaukee is such a big example, and this is not mentioning people for the bad, but like, dude, look at how good Milwaukee's doing. And I know there's a lot of like shiesty shit that happens, but like what Sonny and Big Frank and all that clique got, they got some. And I was telling an engineer that like what Milwaukee is going through is exactly what like Atlanta went through in like, or at least the South area went through around like the late like the mid 2000s, early 2000s. Like, they got something really good. Like, that's a community, you know, and it's like we can't have, I don't know why we couldn't have more of that. And there's so much more opportunity for that to happen. I think a lot of people just need to start accepting others and collaborating with one another and having more chance to connect and not be so, you know, art is for everybody. That's the whole point of why we do it in the first place. And that's why I say what I said, you know. But the matter of the fact is too, is like, we're seeing such a big culture shift right now because of how bad DSPs are doing. And it's, you know, it's funny we're doing the interview like this, you know, because I'm kind of like talking bad about these streaming institutions. But it's not that they don't put people on, but it's like these online DSPs literally change the way that we listen to music, you know. So, and because at least I feel like we're in another culture shift, there's going to be a new way to go about something. And there's so much talented people, especially in the Valley and everywhere in the Midwest. Dude, we got something good. Like, Michael Jackson is from the Midwest. People forget that. Prince is from the Midwest. Don't forget that. You know, and it's crazy to me to see these people get so just kind of in their own bubble instead of, you know, trying to bring up this area like we don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you got the West, East Coast. Yeah, we got some bangers too, but like it's, you know, what we got in Wisconsin, we got grass, we got cows, we got cheese, you know, that, you know. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be a big change happening there.
You DJ too. How does that change how you structure songs?
Yeah, I mean, I look at my music a lot more structurally now. Seeing like where to put the like if I want to decide to put a pre-chorus or not, where I want to put a bridge, things like that. It helps me understand instrumentals a lot better. So when I'm freestyling or anything, I'm a lot better at freestyling and getting a top line done. Yeah, I mean, performing as a DJ was so much fun. I started literally a year ago, just in my basement DJing and having people over and just doing a little set, and they turned into this little community of people who would just we would all get lit on the weekends and just party, you know. And then that translated over to when I got my first gig at Icon, and that changed so much for me. Meeting everyone there was so cool too. Like, I met a lot of good friends, business partners. Shout out to all those people, by the way. You know, Britt and all them, Miles, Retro Central, Fig and all them, JD. They all showed me a different side of Stevens Point when I came over here. And DJing in a smaller town was a lot more effective for me because I was able to scale a lot better because I was just learning out. So it's easier to get crowds here and just kind of build a community here. And now kind of just transitioning more into Appleton and a lot more Milwaukee and try to get more out into the Midwest. And that's, you know, and when it comes to performing, it's a vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like, these people are coming out, they're taking time out of their lives to entertain themselves. So it's like, show them a good time. You're there for the vibe. You know, me being a Dominican kid in a small Midwest city, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was here to create a vibe. So, you know, I'm obviously going to take a lot of care into that, especially when I do actual shows and performing. And yeah, so